Good evening, everyone, and special good morning to our guest speaker, Professor Dr. Nellie Deutsch, because India is 9.5 hours ahead of Canada, and that's probably 10:30 there in the morning in Canada. A warm welcome to today's online lecture on Immersive Technologies, a pathway to learning organized by KIT College of Education, Gurugram, India. I'm Dr. Mona Gupta, Assistant Professor at KIT College of Education, Gurugram, and I have the pleasure of moderating the exciting session. As education continues to evolve, immersive technologies, virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality, we call them as VR, AR, and MR. These are reshaping the way we engage with content and connect with the learners and imagine new learning environments. Today, we'll explore how these tools go beyond novelty to become meaningful pathways to deep experiential learning. Without wasting any time, I would like to invite Dr. Rachna Sharma, our Associate Professor at KIT College of Education, to formally welcome our guest speaker. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mona ma'am. Namaste to everyone. It is with great pleasure and honor that we welcome you all to this special lecture on the theme Immersive Technologies, a Pathway to Learning, organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell, KIT College of Education. We are truly privileged to welcome our esteemed resource person, Professor Nellie Deutsch, instructor in the IMT MSc program in Immersive Technologies, Democratic University of uh, Democritus University of Thrace, Greece. Dr. Nellie is internationally recognized for her expertise in immersive learning environments and technology integrated pedagogy, and we are delighted to have her lead this enlightening session. We also extend a heartfelt welcome to our respected Professor Indra Dul, Director, KIT College of Education, whose visionary leadership continuously inspires our academic pursuits. A warm welcome to Professor Anshu Radha Agrawal, Principal, KIT College of Education, whose constant guidance and support have been pivotal in the successful organization of this event. We sincerely welcome all the dignitaries, distinguished guests, faculty members, research scholars, and student participants who have joined us today to explore the exciting possibilities that immersive technologies offer in transforming teaching and learning. Let us look forward to a session filled with learning, reflection, and innovation. Once again, we extend a warm welcome and respectful welcome to each one of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Rajna. May I invite Dr. Seema Srivastava, Professor at KIT College of Education, to introduce our guest speaker of the day, Dr. Nellie Deutsch.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for giving this opportunity. Good evening and good morning, everyone who have joined us on this platform. Myself, Dr. Seema Srivastava, on behalf of KIT College of Education, I really welcome you all for today's online session. It's a great honor and a privilege to introduce the distinguished guest and an eminent speaker for today's session, Professor Dr. Nellie Deutsch, on Immersive Technologies, a Pathway to Learning. Professor Nellie is a co-chair of TESOL, Call IS, on the EVO coordination team, former head lead and instructor of at IMT, Immersive Technologies in MSc program, at Democritus University of Thrace, and Professor Nellie is also mentor to educators worldwide. With over 40 years of experience of teaching English in public schools and college, Professor Nellie has integrated technology in high school since 1992. She became a member of Second Life, if I am correct, SL in 2007, and has been offering free annual online professional development courses and webinars on Moodle for teachers. She founded an annual Moodle and virtual world MOOCs from 2014 to 2023 and online conferences on career-oriented skill development and CO23 event management and many multimedia courses. Professor Nellie has conducted numerous workshops, published insightful papers, and trained educators across different levels, making complex ideas accessible and practical for classroom use. Professor Nellie implements learner autonomy, self-care with mindfulness, and the Alexander technique, team peer learning, online educational resources and technologies such as Moodle, Google Classroom, Google Bard, ChatGPT, virtual reality, Elicit, Twit, Padlet, Quizlet, Kahoot, Flip, and many other technologies in her courses. A wealth of knowledge and expertise in the field of education that she has are truly commendable. With such vast and diverse experience, I'm sure we are all going to benefit tremendously in adapting and adopting immersive technologies in our teaching learning processes to make it more engaging, student friendly, and self paced. We all look forward to gaining valuable insights from her experience today. Please join me in warm welcoming Professor Nellie for her session on immersive technologies, a pathway to learning. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and giving your valuable insights.
Thank you, Seema ma'am. And before we begin the main session, it's my pleasure to invite our Honorable Director, Professor Indra Dhul, to address the audience with her words of wisdom. She's been a driving force behind promoting innovation and technology in education, and we are honored to have her here with us today. Over to you, Indra ma'am.
Good evening to all the participants and good morning to our esteemed guest, Professor Nellie Deutsch. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to Professor Nellie in this interactive session. Dear participants, as you know, the traditional classroom-based learning approach has been the basis of education for centuries. But with the rapid progression of technology, the way we communicate, we learn, and acquire information is undergoing a significant change. Immersive learning, a revolutionary approach to education, is setting a new trend in teaching and learning by changing the way we learn and gain knowledge. Immersive learning is an educational approach that enhances learners' engagement with the help of simulated environment that gives real world-like experiences in which learners feel totally immersed and engrossed. This approach makes use of cutting edge technologies such as virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality to create immersive and interactive environments that mimic real world experiences. Immersion stands for a perception of being physically present in a non physical world with the help of virtual reality and augmented reality. Immersive learning is theoretically grounded in constructivism and experiential learning theories that emphasize the importance of active participation and personal engagement in creating knowledge. David Kolb, in his theory of experiential learning, delineated that learning is the result of direct experience and reflection. John Sweller, in his cognitive load theory, reported that immersive learning can reduce cognitive overload and enhance learning by providing a more engaging and interactive learning environment. As you know, Piaget firmly believed that a child constructs his or her own knowledge through active participation and interaction with the physical and social environment, and knowledge getting is not a passive absorption of information. Immersive learning can be applied in many fields, like integration of immersive learning experiences in traditional classroom teaching approach can enhance students' engagement and retention, resulting in effective teaching and better learning. So far as training and development is concerned, corporate training, military training, and healthcare training can be provided through immersive learning experiences. 21st century skills, which NEP talks of, like team spirit, problem solving, and leadership skills, can be sharpened through immersive learning strategies. Immersive learning can help in making the learning environment more inclusive. It lets learners learn at their own pace without being judged. A French study observed a big rise in feeling of comfort with disability issues after using immersive learning. Experiences in immersive learning can be used to provide exposure therapy, rehab therapy, and behavior modification skills to patients suffering from mild mental health issues. Immersive learning experiences can be provided for entertainment and educational tourism as well, because all the students don't have the facilities and resources for visiting places of historical and educational significance. An engaging and interactive virtual visit to such places can be highly useful in such situations. If we talk of benefits of immersive learning, it enhances engagement, as immersive learning experiences are so designed that learners feel immersed and engrossed in experiences which lead to better learning. At the same time, it improves retention, as learning experiences provided through immersive learning stimulate learners' senses that help in providing in depth understanding and improving retention of knowledge. The best part is that learning seems of fun when the learning experiences are presented in a visually appealing manner. Moreover, it increases the chances of transfer of knowledge, because when learning is facilitated through immersive learning experiences, students get opportunities to apply theoretical knowledge in practical and real world situations. Furthermore, it is helpful in the development of soft skills. The learners learn the skills of communication, collaboration, leadership, emotional intelligence, and problem solving through immersive experiences, which serve as a passport for success in 21st century. Immersive technologies can facilitate students' virtual visits to science labs and areas of geographical, cultural, and historical importance to broaden their mental horizons, which may remain inchoate in the absence of a meaningful exposure. Like any other approach, immersive learning also has some of its limitations, like that of cost and accessibility, because access to high end technology is limited, particularly in rural areas, and all the institutions cannot afford to install required technical gadgets in their institutions. Sometimes there can be technical issues, such as that of hardware and software. And at other times, teaching learning can be hampered by technical glitches. Then, teaching through immersive learning requires development of subject specific content prepared by the concerned teachers. And for development and assessment of such content, teachers will have to be specially trained and they must be techno savvy. In a nutshell, we can say that immersive learning is an innovative approach to education that has the potential to transform educational landscape. If we can provide interactive, engaging, and immersive learning experiences to students, it can certainly enhance their engagement, retention, and transfer of knowledge. Though there are a few challenges and limitations to immersive learning, but the benefits outweigh the challenges. In the present era, when technology is constantly improving and encompassing, the technical limitations too can be easily handled and managed. The day is not far off when we can expect to see widespread use of immersive learning in education and various domains. Today, we are fortunate to have with us Professor Nellie, an eminent educationist from Canada, who founded many online professional development programs for teachers and provides free online courses for educators on how to integrate emerging technologies and AI in teaching learning process. She has been very kind to have accepted our request to deliberate on immersive technologies, a pathway to effective learning. I hope all the participants will be highly benefited by her scholarly interaction.
Very, very much for that amazing introduction. I feel very, very honored. You certainly made me feel that way, so I want to thank you for that. You helped me, first of all, because you gave an excellent background, Dr. Professor Indira, and I appreciate that very, very much. Going to add some information that wasn't added. I no longer work in as a TESOL Call-IS chair. I have gone forward, and I'm no longer in that position. It changes every 3 years, and some of my bio has also changed slightly, but I do work at Democritus University of Thrace at a distance on a Moodle platform, and the university is indeed in Greece. I will be teaching in February tourism and virtual reality, as well as augmented reality. This is what we'll be discussing. We will have less time for things that were mentioned, and I appreciate that, as I said, such as the benefits of immersive experiences. What I would like to ask you is, and here's the presentation for those of you that have your mobile devices, so that you can get the QR code, and you may copy, print, do anything you'd like with it. It's open source. As Professor Indira mentioned, what are immersive technologies? When you think of immersive technologies, what do you think of? Maybe you don't think of anything, but I think the key here is immersive. Technologies that immerse us, and I'll be talking a little bit about that. And Professor Indira mentioned exactly that. These are tools that make you feel like you're inside the experience. You're experiencing something virtually. You're not really there. But it's different from, say, a virtual classroom, such as Zoom. We are not really experiencing anything very much. So it's not the same thing. So instead of, for example, learning from a book or a screen, such as you are right now through Zoom, you actually live it. You go through the process of being in it and living it, but you're not. But your brain, by the way, according to research studies, does not know what's happening to you. It thinks that it's real, and it's even more than real. And these are some examples of virtual reality in the classroom. You can see that it's virtual reality because they're not using their smartphones or tablets or iPads. Notice you can learn anything, any subject area. And this could be done from very, very young ages. You can even learn to drive and think that you're actually driving when you're not. This is augmented reality. With augmented reality, there are no headsets, or not necessary. It's not necessary to have a headset. And I think when you talk about rural areas and some of the challenges involved in bringing in technologies, these are also offline. You don't have to have internet. All you need to have is either a Chromebook, a smartphone, or a tablet or iPad. And notice here, these are very young children, and they are experiencing the heart. In fact, it's right there in front of them. And that's very, very magical. But young learners accept this right away. So you don't need internet. And I think this is good news for rural areas and around the globe. All you need is one smartphone. If the teacher has a smartphone, the teacher can pass this around the classroom, and young learners or even older learners can collaborate, which is one of the other assets of virtual and augmented reality, is that they can learn together and experience it individually, but learn together. Notice here, these are some of the ways that you can use augmented reality with your devices, not with your laptop and not with your desktop. It doesn't work with that. It only works with small devices such as a smartphone and tablet. First of all, these are AR worksheets. There are worksheets that you can use. There are AR flashcards. They're all 3D visuals. The 3D visuals appear in front of you. All you need, as I said, is the phone. You just use your phone. You can have this offline, and everything appears in front of you. Isn't that amazing? I really think it's amazing. And it's a great way to learn. Notice also anatomy models will appear in front of you, interactive storybooks in augmented reality, everything human-like, even better than human-like, because it's very, very colorful. And stories and animations are great ways for everyone to learn. Here are some more. You can also study math and manipulatives with apps like Merge, Cube Tools. Everything is right here. All you have to do is try them out, get the app on your phone, and you're good to go. These are offline apps. You can also study science and do experiments right there in the classroom without internet. And I think this is wonderful news. And there's also virtual reality. Now, virtual reality and augmented reality are very, very different. As I said, one is with a phone or tablet, and the other is with a gear. And you need the gear, you need the headset. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And yes, it is very, very expensive, which is why it probably wouldn't work in most places. It's too expensive unless the school can afford it, but individuals generally find it very hard to afford. So what is virtual reality? You wear a headset that covers your eyes and ears, and it shows you a computer-like world. It's as if you're inside a machine. You feel like you've been transported to another place, another dimension, another planet. It is very, very powerful. But the most you can be under the headset and experience virtual reality is 20 minutes, only 20 minutes. It's impossible to do any more because it could be harmful. There are lots of negative aspects to this, even though it's wonderful. You may get nauseous. You may get car sick and have all kinds of symptoms that are difficult to be with. Generally, this is more for female than for male, but you have to be aware of this. So no more than 20 minutes. Augmented reality is a lot easier, as I said, because all you need, and could be offline, all you need to get is a phone, a smartphone. And I think most schools have enough smartphones. Teachers have smartphones. I usually share my smartphone with my students so that they can experience it. And they don't need internet, of course, so it doesn't cost anything. And you still feel that you are experiencing another dimension, a 3D that you don't see in real life. In real life, all we see is what's in front of us. We don't see what's behind us, okay, because we don't have eyes in the back of our eyes. And we hardly see what's on the sides. So we are limited. But with augmented reality, you're not limited. You see the whole thing and you can move it around. It's not just static in front of you. You can actually move everything around and manipulate it while it's on your desk or on the floor. You can also put the objects on the floor. So all you need, as I said, is your phone, your smartphone, and then an app, and then you raise the objects on the floor or on your desk or anywhere else. You can put them on your shoulders as well. So it's a lot of fun. That was also mentioned. Thank you for mentioning that. And then there's mixed reality. Mixed reality is a combination of the two. It's real and it's digital. And you can interact with both at the same time. And yes, it does feel that you are part of this, and this is your world. For 20 minutes, you can feel like you're learning somewhere else, in another country, in another dimension. You are inside a computer and you're learning. So it is magical. And then there's 360 video, which you can find on your desktop as well, on a computer or laptop, which is nice. You can move things around and see things at a 360-degree angle, which you can't in real life. So you could be learning about all the dimensions that are available in an object without having to walk around the object itself. You can just manipulate the object and move it around. And yes, it is magical, and it is happening right now. This is not science fiction any longer, but it used to be. So what is immersive technology? Now that I've showed you a bit, if you could add in the chat, what is it? And remember, there are two kinds. There's virtual and augmented reality. One with a gear and one without, and just with a smartphone. So what do you think? What is it? You can't make a mistake. Whatever you write is fine. So if you had to describe it, what would you say in a word or two? What is it? Okay, feel free to use the chat and write. I'm waiting for someone to write something down. This way I know that you're here with me. No? Can you hear me? Is anyone there? All right. So I'm not
Yes.
sure whether you can you hear me?
We can hear you. Dr. Nellie.
Great.
Can hear-
All right. So if you could just write what you think it is, that would be great. So it's haptic technology. What does that mean? And this is very, very immersive. It means that you use devices that let you feel. Digital things like vibrations or touch. So when you're using virtual reality, you're not just seeing, and this is only virtual reality or mixed reality, but you're also feeling either vibrations or you have a sense. And you feel like you're actually touching something when you're not. And that's very, very powerful. I'd like to compare virtual reality and augmented reality, as well as mixed reality, immersive reality, as immersion, being immersed, and compare it to mindfulness and flow. I don't know if you're familiar with mindfulness. Mindfulness means being there at that moment, being immersed completely, where you don't know where you are. I mean, you could be in a classroom, but you don't feel that you're in the classroom. You don't feel that you're outside. You only feel whatever is shown to you. So if you're in a lab virtually, you will feel the lab. You will sense the lighting. You will hear sounds. You will sense vibrations. You will think that you are actually in the laboratory when in fact you're in the classroom, a regular classroom sitting with others. So you feel like you're somewhere else. You're engaged in a very, very deep immersion. And that's all you know. All you know is that you are inside the heart, virtually. Virtual reality takes you into the object. If you want to learn about the heart, you go into the heart. If you want to learn about anything else, if you want to learn about the forest and the trees, you're in the forest. If you want to learn to walk and you are not able to, you are crippled, you are handicapped, you will be able to walk in a virtual reality environment. You will be able to enjoy what you cannot enjoy in the real life. And this is very, very important, not only for regular students, but for handicapped students or students who are not able to see, hearing impaired. All these students will be able to experience sight. They will be able to see things that normally they would not be able to see, but they could in a virtual environment, such as virtual reality. And they're absorbed in it. So these are two examples. And you can tell me whether it's augmented reality or virtual reality. It could be both on the right, because notice here they're wearing headsets, and generally headsets are for virtual reality, even though you could have headsets for augmented reality as well. So on the right, it could be augmented reality as well. But you can see on the left that the user is using his hands, and on the right as well. When you use your hands like that, it generally means that it's virtual reality and you are in it. But I can't show you this. There's no way I can show you what it's like to be inside an object, inside the heart, instead of manipulating the heart from the outside, as you can do in augmented reality. Imagine being inside the heart and going through all the corridors, through the veins and everything. That's what virtual reality is like. So can you think of all the benefits of immersive experiences? These are some of the benefits, of course, and they were also mentioned by Professor Indira. Increased engagement. How can you not be engaged if you're inside the heart or if you're manipulating the heart in augmented reality? Your understanding will be 100% because you'll be able to see it in life. And then enhance creativity. You become more creative because your mind grows exponentially. Reduce stress, just like in mindfulness. Stress is reduced when you're relaxed and when you're in the moment. And there's research, of course, on the fact that when you're in the moment, you are happier and more satisfied. And these are some of the other values of immersive technology besides engagement, understanding. Retention was also mentioned. I'm just going to go through this very quickly. I mentioned accessibility. You're able to go places where you would never be able to go before. Not just a regular lab, but special labs, medical labs that you might not have access to. And yet here you are, you can have access to environments that you might not. And that was also partially mentioned. And personalization, you learn the way you need to learn, your specific way. And collaboration was also mentioned. Inclusivity, I mentioned. And of course, teacher professional development. What better to learn about learning than through virtual and augmented reality? Assessment, different ways of assessing students. It won't be the same anymore. You'll be tracking them, and this is possible. Learning can be tracked through the virtual reality environment. Of course, STEM learning, soft skills was mentioned, and global learning was also mentioned. Here again is immersion, mindfulness, and flow, all at the same time. If you want to learn how to do mindfulness, you could do it through a virtual reality environment, in fact, and it'll be a lot easier. Notice the one on the left here, the students on the left, they're using augmented reality, while the students on the right are using virtual reality. And you can see the differences. On the left with augmented reality, you can use a headset or not. It's not exactly the same, but you still get the same immersion. Let's take a look at some of these: immersion, mindfulness, and flow. Before we go on, let me know if there are any questions about anything up to now, just to make sure that if there is a question, if you could just ask in case it's urgent, that's fine. So notice what we have here: awareness of our surroundings.
I think
You are not,
we can
yes,
take the questions at the end.
okay. You are not aware of your surroundings. You don't know where you are. And that could be scary for some, not for children, but it could be scary for some adults who would like to be in control, because here you're not in control at all. And whatever comes up will come up. So often this could be positive, but it may be negative for some. So keep that in mind. And the immersion is directed into the environment. Mindfulness is heightened because you're there right now. You can't go anywhere else unless you stop the virtual reality learning. So you will be there until, well, 20 minutes, no more. And mindfulness is heightened. There is intentional awareness. You have no choice. It takes you wherever it's programmed to take you. And whatever you're going to learn, you're going to learn. So you are not aware of what is going on around you, just within the virtual reality environment. And flow, if you're familiar with the flow, it means that you're doing something that you really, really enjoy, and you're completely in it. Now, this could happen while you're cooking. It could happen while you're doing mindfulness, of course. It could happen while you're walking, this flow sense. You could be doing anything, but it means that you're focused on one thing and one thing only, whatever you happen to be doing. And it's very, very healthy. The outcome, of course, is enhanced experience. You experience the learning, whatever you were learning, whether it's medical studies, physics, art, languages. You can actually learn languages or do sports, especially if you're limited. It's a chance to do physical activities that you were never able to do before. And that's what it's about. And there's an increased calm, of course, clarity, which is what mindfulness is about, and emotional regulation, because you learn to face what is. And what is whatever is in the virtual environment, in the virtual reality environment. And of course, the performance is very, very high. And these are some examples of immersion: gaming, virtual reality storytelling, simulations, learning to fly, learning to drive through simulations. That's immersion. Mindfulness, you could do yoga. If you've done yoga, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about being immersed at that moment in whatever position you're doing in yoga. Eating, you can eat mindfully and pay attention to each bite that you take. And of course, breathing exercises as well. And the flow is creative work, music, performance, coding. You can learn to code. As I said, you can learn languages very, very easily in a virtual and augmented environment. Your time perception, just like in mindfulness and flow, you lose a sense of time, which is why it's so important to only do 20 minutes of virtual reality and no more. The time may feel that it's altered. You may feel the time is going slowly or it's going really, really fast, but you have no real sense of place or time. You are completely immersed in the virtual reality environment. But you can see something, you can sense something. You're not sure what it is, but you can sense something. And this is great for learning how to develop good habits, for example, and in therapy and other soft skills, I suppose, that you might want to learn. And you can do this through this environment. Now, if you ask about these environments, they are developed by professionals. I have not even tried it. It's beyond my scope, but these are developed by professionals, and that's what they do. So it's not just the technical, but it's a lot of things that are involved. And a sense of self. You don't feel yourself. The self is gone, which is important in yoga, right? We don't want to be thinking about, or consciously thinking about ourselves. We want to go beyond that into a higher frame, a higher plane. So we no longer experience the self in the same way, and we might not experience the self at all. And I'll show you an example of this later on when you will be able to go into a virtual reality room and see what that feels like. And as I mentioned, with control, it depends on what you're doing, whether you can use and control with your hands or not. And then the flow, of course, is a sense of self. It disappears completely. In mindfulness, it disappears. It may disappear. And that's when we feel liberated. And that's what virtual reality is about. It's about a kind of liberation from the self, from the daily self that bogs us down and prevents us from doing effective work and learning. When we have a lot of problems, and you know this about your students, when students have problems, they can't focus on their studies. They may be concentrating 50% of the time, maybe even less. But with virtual reality, it's 100% intentional, and that's where your attention is. So there's a lot more learning, a lot faster. And here are two other examples. And that's with storytelling. There are stories to tell. And that's how we do it. That's how I teach immersive technology and experiences, through stories. My students prepare stories as they go through the virtual reality environments. And there's always a story. Now, these stories are very, very powerful. And we can use them in education. For example, in history or social science or language learning, students step into another world and they experience a story. And that's really important to tell the stories, to encourage students to tell the stories that they experienced. What did you see? What did you learn? Where did you go? Okay, very, very important to talk about the physical story and then go on to reflecting on what they experience. That's important for learning. Outside the virtual reality classroom or augmented reality, and outside the classroom, the physical classroom in general. Reflections are always very, very powerful, and they are the basis for further learning. And these are some examples of such experiences. Science education as well as environmental education. You'll find this useful later on when you have time, so you can explore some of these areas. STEM and problem solving. Much easier to solve problems when you're relaxed and in a virtual reality room, or you're using augmented reality. And of course, in literature and creative writing. Social, civics, all these subjects, students can learn very, very easily. And you can help them if you're a teacher. So we're going to take a look at augmented reality. Notice with augmented reality, you can use a headset or not use a headset. Same with virtual reality. So let's take a look at augmented reality. Augmented reality only works through smartphones, as I mentioned, tablets and iPads. And it doesn't matter what version of a phone you have. Some apps that you can use are Google Lens, IKEA, Place, Snapchat, sorry. And you must have a camera. If you're going to do this offline specifically, you have to have a camera. Motion sensors and AR support, for example, RPIT for iOS or RCore for the Android. And same thing for the tablets and iPads. And there's some examples here. Now, you cannot use, as I said, your desktop or laptops, unfortunately. But you can use Chromebooks in some cases. I don't know if Chromebooks are popular where you are, but that's a possibility too. AR glasses, augmented reality glasses. Some of them are quite inexpensive, so you don't have to worry about a lot of money if you're interested in getting that in the classroom. There's also Microsoft, HoloLens, Magic Leap, Rocket, Nreal Air, and high-end devices for industrial, of course, and educational. It's not only for educational. Industries are using VR, immersive technologies, for learning as well. And these are young learners. These are examples of augmented reality. Notice what they can do here. The phone is there, but the object is right in front of them. They can move it around. They can play around with it. They can see all sides. On the right, on the left, you can see this from a laptop or iPad. And they're studying human anatomy. And again, they can move it around so that they see all sides. These are some examples of popular augmented reality tools. These are the ones that my students try out, as many as they can. Notice there's Eighth Wall, which is web-based AR. You might want to try that, Eighth Wall. There's AR Creation Tool by Adobe for building interactive AR experiences. So Adobe, called Adobe Aero. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's quite popular. You can use it with iOS or with Microsoft. And these are some more examples. Notice what you need, the tools on the right, and on the left, they're learning quantum physics with augmented reality. And you can see how immersed they are. No one's going to be talking while they're learning. And these are some more examples. Google's platform called Agora for the Android and iOS. There's Apple's ARKit. There's Lens Studio for the Windows and for the Apple. And there's also one for the web. So there are some for the web, but not as many. So you're better off to use your phone. There's Quiver for the Android and iOS, and you can install it right now or after the session if you're curious. The presentation is available to you, so you can try these out. All the links are here in green, so all you have to do is click and go. And then there's Fuvoria and Zappar. Notice they're all for both, but notice Zappar is also for the web, so you might want to try that as well. And there's ZapWorks, Android, iOS, Apple, and the web. Now, virtual reality. Virtual reality, as I said, is expensive. Okay, so I would recommend augmented reality. It's free and you can use it offline. Notice here in the classroom, they're using virtual reality with the headsets. If your school can afford it, you're lucky. This is the gear that you need, and the gear is very expensive. But it doesn't have to be expensive. You can use Google Cardboard. I think I have one somewhere here. My cardboard, or it used to be on my desk. I guess it's not here anymore. But you can get a cardboard for something like $5, maybe even cheaper. It's just a cardboard, but it can be used with your phone. So with the Android or with iOS. So that's a start. A cardboard. Google Expeditions with a cardboard. There's MetaQuest. I'm not going to talk about that because it's super expensive. You must have heard of Meta. That's Facebook. And they started that a few years ago as well. There's Class VR. These are all completely free, actually, and you don't need a headset for Class VR or for Engage, but it's a lot better with a headset. Without the headset, it's not the same. And then there's VR, Viative, VR Chat, which young people know about. I'm sure you do if you're involved in gaming. And there's Victory XR and Immersive. And there's Roomy, which is a virtual reality classroom and meeting space with presentation tools. So they're developing educational classrooms as well. Most of these, as I said, are super expensive, except for Special. Now, Special doesn't cost anything. Let me get the link for you because we're going there in a minute. And then there's Agora. You don't need a headset for Agora. And it's a lot of fun if you're interested in something close to virtual reality, but not quite. This is Special. Anyone here heard about Special? This is my university, virtual reality environment, where students and you will be able to come in and look around. You can move around, but you need to have an avatar. But that's okay because you'll get one right away. Notice the bubbles here. You go from one bubble to the next. You can sit down at the desk and look things up, or there are lots of projects here that you might enjoy as well. So let's go there now. I'll put this in the chat for you so you can try it out. Let me go into the chat here. There we go. So there's Special IO. You just need to get an account and it's completely free. You can speak there, you can engage with others, you can collaborate, you can meet other people. It's for you. So this is the end of my talk. I'm sure you have a lot of questions. So feel free to ask. Every question is brilliant because you're asking, and when someone asks, they want to know. So feel free to ask because you want to know. Going to stop the screen sharing here. There we go. So I can, there we are.
Thank you, Dr. Nellie. There's one question I can see from Maria. She's an English teacher, and she mentions, would you please tell us how can we integrate virtual reality in language learning process?
Depends. Do you mean virtual reality or augmented reality?
She's asking about virtual reality.
Virtual reality is very expensive. If your school can afford it, or if you can afford, if you are interested in the business language teaching, then that would be great. I could send you to a lot of places. But as I said, it's very, very expensive. Most teachers can't afford it. Most schools can't afford it. But if your school can, or if you can, that's great. There are a lot of special language virtual reality platforms. The whole classroom is there for language learning, specifically for English as a foreign language, but also for other languages? There's one called Immersive, by the way.
Maria mentions that she's a private teacher and she's very
Oh,
firm that, she wants to, know about virtual reality.
that's great. I suggest she contact, what's her name? Sorry.
She's Maria.
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 Okay, Maria, contact me. I'll be happy to point you in the right direction. I hope that's satisfactory.
Dr. Nellie, I was, listening to your talk specifically. I just want to know one thing. Uh, could you recommend some low cost or open access immersive tools that educators can experiment with?
Yes, there are a lot of tools. I think I mentioned them in the presentation. They're all listed there. Adobe, and just to think of some, I'm trying to bring you into the virtual classroom so you could experience it yourself. So I'm multitasking. But yes, I think that Adobe or Adobe Aero is reasonable, and it's free actually. But if you're looking for virtual reality, Special, for example, is free. It depends on your purpose, though. What if you could be specific? I think that I might be able to point you in the right direction. Can you be specific in what kind of learning you're interested in?
Yeah, Dr. Mona, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm here only. I was reading one of the questions. There's one which is being posted to me. It says, how can educators get started with immersive technology if they don't have a tech background?
Oh, you don't need any of that. That's a good question. That's an excellent question because actually you don't. You need to know how to use Zoom, right? You can't just come into Zoom and what do I do? Where do I go? Okay, so even for Zoom, you need some kind of guidance. But for augmented reality, for example, you don't need anything. For virtual reality, you do. But for augmented reality, all you need to do is to install the augmented reality, install it, and that's it. You don't have to know anything. It's all there for you. So actually, it's a lot easier. I teach Moodle. That takes time. Any technology, I teach AI. That takes time. Everything takes time. But with augmented reality, which is completely free, and you don't have to worry about expenses, and it's immersive nonetheless, you don't need to be able to do anything. There's no learning curve like in any other digital tool. You just have to know how to install on a
Thank you.
phone.
Thank you.
And I think
That-
most of
that's
us know
great.
how to do that. I want to share this with you. I finally got it. Sorry about that. I want to share the university virtual reality campus so you get
Please.
an idea of what students can do. There, I see Maria's question. Yes, Maria, please get in touch with me if that's, yeah, get in touch with me. I'm pretty easy to find. Just look for Nellie Deutsch, and I think you'll find me somewhere. On LinkedIn, actually, let me go back.
There's one more question from Dr.
Yes.
Mahrukh Khan. He mentions, can I teach research to my students through AR? I'm a university teacher.
Of course. Yes, of course. But you have to plan it. Okay, you have to, or you have to find something that's suitable. Right now, they're developing quite a few programs, augmented reality programs, so it's possible. But for research, I would have to look for it. I would have to look and see if there's a free augmented reality program on how to conduct research. I sure hope there is. There should be, right? This would be very, very useful. As I said, these things have to be developed. So if we're talking about virtual reality, the first place the virtual reality goes to is business, right? Facebook and other businesses. So it's really, really expensive. The next stage is augmented reality, which is less expensive. So you may find maybe more programs for it. There, I can see that some people have come into into the campus. You can see them. I'm really glad that you did. I want to show you something else here, just to make sure that, there we are. In case you want to get in touch with me, sorry for interrupting. In case you want to get in touch with me, you can get in touch with me through YouTube. I've got quite a bit of following there. And LinkedIn or Facebook. Okay, so if you capture one of those, you'll be able to get in touch with me. Any other questions before we go back to special?
I think I don't see more questions
You don't see
here.
any questions? Okay, so
In case
let's,
they have any questions, we can share the email and that would be posted to you, ma'am.
I don't share emails, but you can contact me through LinkedIn. You could just look for Nellie Deutsch or through Facebook, and I'll
That's
be
better.
able to
That's better.
answer you. Emails just get lost. You know, I mean, things may not be viewed as quickly. In any case, notice everybody's here. I suggest you come in just to experience what it's like and move around, okay? All you have to do is put your mouse in the front. Let me, and you'll be able to move around. Everybody can see that, right? There, I'm in there. All I have to do is just put my mouse somewhere. Notice what happens. I'm putting my mouse and it goes where I go, okay? If I want to sit down here, there I sat down. Or I can speak here as well. There's also an audio so that we can talk. Let's see if I want to stand up again and go somewhere else. I can go into one of these bubbles here. Okay, travel. And notice I'm traveling to another place now. It's taking time because of the servers. You can see that. Yeah, it's taking too long. Ah, there we are. Okay, and then I'm in another place here. I see that because of Zoom, it doesn't look as good. But you can also move around here. And you can join me if you like. You can just go to any of these portals and it'll take you travel to another place. You can go from place to place, as you can see there. Right, I'm going to stop screen sharing so your eyes don't get too tired from looking at that.
Thank you,
So
Dr.
there's a
Nick.
chance. That's what each university can do for their students. They can, and it's no expense at all. You just need computer experts to be able to build things, but you can also build things yourself. You can have your office, by the way, all of you can have an office in special. I think I have a few offices there where you can meet your students virtually. Sometimes students feel more at home when, they don't have to be in the same room as their professors. They feel more comfortable as an avatar, perhaps. It's another way of looking at things. There are, I guess, ways that we can imagine communicating with our students virtually, not in Zoom, because Zoom is the same, right? It's exactly the same. But to meet elsewhere and to experience what it's like to be in a virtual reality environment. So, any other questions or comments?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nellie, for this eye-opening session. And please accept as a token of gratitude from the organizers of the conference, this lecture, virtual memento.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much. Lovely colors. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Professor Nellie, on behalf of our institution, we present this virtual memento to you. Thank you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you for accepting this, ma'am. As William Arthur Ward once said, feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. And with that in mind, I take this opportunity to invite our principal, Professor Anshu Radha Agarwal, to propose the formal vote of thanks. Ma'am, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mona ma'am. So, good evening, everyone, and good morning to all US people. On behalf of the KIT College of the Education, Gurugram, I feel honored to deliver the vote of thanks for today's special lecture on immersive technologies, a pathway for learning. First of all, a big thank to our respected speaker, Professor Dr. Nellie Deutsch. We are truly grateful for your time, your knowledge, and the wonderful way in which you explained the role of the immersive technologies in teaching and learning. Your words have inspired us and give us a new ideas to explore in the education. We are also thankful to our respected director, Professor Indra Dhal, for making this special session possible and for connecting us with this uh, great speaker. Uh, and I also want to thank you, all the faculty members, students, and the participants for joining this session and making it meaningful. Last but not least, thanks to all the organizing team, Dr. Mona, Dr. Rachna, Dr. Seema, Dr. Shekha for this smooth coordination. Once again, thank you, Professor Dr. Nellie Deutsch, for being with us and enriching us with your wisdom. Have a pleasant evening to all of you. Thank you.
I see I'm sorry, there's a question there that I only noticed now. How visually impaired can see, they can only sense. Well, that's the difference, because our brains, the brain can see. Blind people are not blind in their brain. They can actually, they do see, they see images and so on, even though they've never seen them before. So this is a very important question, and thank you for asking that. I'm sorry I didn't see it before. Apologize.
My apologies too. I also overlooked
Actually,
it.
this was my question.
Yes, I just noticed now. Yes,
Seema
that's right.
Shabazz. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how people with visual impairment, they can only sense it. So the colors and other things they have not seen. So how
Well,
can they visualize?
Yeah,
But
well,
of course they
that's,
can sense it, yeah.
yeah, they get a lot more. That's why it's so important to develop this for the for the ones that need this kind of accessibility. so that they can experience learning in another dimension. So yes, that was a great question. Thank you for asking.
Thank you, Dr. Nellie,
Thank you, ma'am, for
for
answering.
this eye-opening session. And thanks everyone whosoever has joined us. And I request all the participants to fill the feedback form shared by Dr. Shikha. I request Dr. Shikha to share it once more. It's in the chat box. And I hope this would spark ideas about how immersive technologies can redefine learning spaces. I request all the participants to kindly open your cameras so that we can capture this moment.
Hold on.
I think they can't
Um,
open.
Hold on, let me see
Controls
if
are
I,
not there with them, right? Okay.
Yes,
hold
yes.
on. I can do that. I can do it. Yeah, there we go.
Ma'am can
I
enable
can.
them, yeah.
There we are. Nice to see everybody. Thank you for asking them to open their cameras. Lovely.
Thanks once again, Professor Nellie, and hope to see you again in such interactive sessions. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.